So, ladies and gentlemen, Tuesday, October 4th, the ruling has come down. Donald Trump, the former president of the United States, has pled not guilty to a grand total of 34 felony counts of falsifying business records. Now, Trump showed little emotion as he answered the charges in a New York courtroom. Now, Trump, according to CBC, the former U.S. president and front runner for the 2024 Republican nomination, again pled to not guilty on Tuesday to 34 felony counts. Now, these falsifying business records came after an investigation into hush money paid to a former and current porn star, Stormy Daniels. Now, wearing a dark blue suit and red tie, Trump, who recently turned 76, showed little emotion on his face when he waved at a crowd assembled outside the courthouse after he was driven in a motorcade from his New York residence at Trump Tower. Inside the courtroom, Trump sat with his hands folded as he entered his plea, flanked by his lawyers. Not guilty, Trump said when asked what was his plea. He is the first sitting or former U.S. president to face criminal charges. Now, presidential candidates have been charged before or after their campaigns, but he's the first one to be formally. Richard Nixon obviously was pardoned, so that would have been the first, but Trump's situation, again, wholly different. Now, the full total of potential years in prison is 136. Now, this would be maximum sentence. Now, there was rumors there was a plea arrangement offered to Trump to plead guilty to lesser charges, which allegedly he refused. Now, an actual prison sentence may not come about, would be far less than that. Some people are speculating anywhere between 6 months and 2 years. Now, while falsifying business records in New York on its own is a misdemeanor punishable by no more than 1 year in prison, it is elevated to a felony punishable by up to 4 years in prison when done to advance or conceal another crime. Trump, who has called the charges politically motivated, held his fist in the air in a gesture to reporters as he departed Trump Tower. The case is unfolding against a backdrop not only of its third campaign for the White House, but also against other investigators in Washington and Atlanta that might yet produce more charges. He arrived at court in an 8-car motorcade from Trump Tower, communicating in real time his anger at the process via his social media platform, Trump Social. Heading to Lower Manhattan, the courthouse, he posted, "Seems so surreal. Wow, they're going to arrest me. Can't believe this is happening in America. MAGA." No one on this channel endorses that statement. Take it as you will. Trump was indicted last week, becoming the first sitting or former president to face criminal charges, again over the case involving a 2016 hush money payment to Stephanie Clifford, her real name known as porn performer Stormy Daniels. Now, District Attorney Alvin Bragg, a Democrat who led the investigation, is expected, gave a news conference after the arraignment. Now, we will not be covering that because that's ongoing as we speak. Now, Trump will return to Florida to deliver remarks from Mar-a-Lago at an 8:15 p.m. Eastern Time scheduled event on Tuesday, his office said. At least 500 prominent supporters have been invited, with some of the most pro-Trump congressional Republicans expected to attend. Now, Trump also used Truth Social on Tuesday morning to complain that he was going to court in a heavily Democratic area, declaring kangaroo court, and this is not what America was supposed to be. Supposed was misspelled. The Manhattan grand jury that indicted Trump heard evidence for months earlier this year about $130,000 U.S. payment to Daniels in the waning days of the 2016 presidential campaign. Daniels has said she was paid to keep silent about a sexual encounter she had with Trump at a Lake Tahoe hotel in 2006. Trump denies having had any such relationship with her. At first, in 2018, Trump denied making the payments until his then lawyer, Rudy Giuliani, admitted in a television interview that he had. Now, if the case heads to trial, the prosecution expected to rely in large part on testimony from Michael Cohen, the former Trump lawyer who is now one of his most vociferous critics. Cohen was sentenced to 3 years in prison in federal court in New York, in large part for orchestrating hush payments to Daniels, as well as to former Playboy model Karen McDougal, who said she had a months-long affair with Trump before he took office. A case involving election expenses would normally be considered at the federal level, but the Justice Department and the Biden administration has been focused on investigations relating to the January 6, 2021 riot at the national capital. Now, in addition, the FEC was deadlocked on a partisan basis over whether to hear the complaint that Trump violated campaign finance rules with the payment. Prosecutors in Manhattan were reportedly laying multiple charges of falsifying records of his New York-based Trump organization. Two people familiar with the matter told AP last week. Now, cops in NYC were on edge all weekend as police over the weekend began erecting barricades near Trump Tower, where Trump arrived on Monday after flying in from Florida, and the Manhattan Criminal Court building, with demonstrations expected at the both sites, which, as of this presentation, had not occurred. Now, police tried to keep apart protesters supporting the former president and those opposing him by confining them to separate sides of the nearby park using metal barricades. Now, any potential trial in the Manhattan case is still at least more than a year away. They're talking right now probably late December or late December 23, early December 2024. Legal experts said it could occur during or after the presidential campaign, of course, the Iowa caucuses, next late spring. An indictment or even a conviction do not legally prevent Trump from running for president. Now, the Manhattan investigation is just one of several legal challenges concerning Trump. He also faces a separate criminal probe in Georgia into whether he unlawfully tried to overturn his 2020 election defeat in that state, and two investigations by a special counsel, one that involves the effort to overturn the 2020 vote more broadly, and one concerning his handling of classified documents after leaving office. Now, the Georgia situation is when he had asked people within the group's the counting mechanism to find him so many thousand votes or something like that. As it stands right now, again, innocent until proven guilty. We'll leave the universe unfold as it should. But here's the goals, ladies and gentlemen. I do this in public service. I do not understand why it took so long, but I'll leave that to your capable hands to discuss. By the way, the comment section on this podcast will be shut off, and anybody who comments my other podcasts about what I just said will be reported and banned to Facebook, because I want you to just listen to what was presented. I don't want editorializing, because I easily could do that, but leave it for another day. Thanks for listening. Bye.